You wake up, your eyes open. Before you even stretch or take a deep breath, your hand moves toward the phone. It's not even a conscious thought anymore. It's a reflex, a habit buried so deep it feels natural. You check the notifications, emails, messages, missed calls, an update you didn't ask for, a headline you didn't need, a photo that makes you question your own life. You haven't even left your bed, and already your mind isn't yours. That's distraction. It doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock down the door. It creeps. It whispers. It slides in silently and sits beside you like it belongs. And slowly, quietly, it starts taking things. First, it takes your morning, the part of the day meant for peace, intention, and grounding. Then it takes your attention, fragmenting your focus into 1,000 tiny directions. Next, it takes your creativity, your ability to think deeply, to imagine, to sit with an idea long enough to grow it. Eventually, it takes your presence, your connection to people in front of you, your ability to be where you actually are. And finally, it takes your life. Not all at once, but in moments, in pieces, in hours you can't remember, and days you never really lived. Distraction is a silent thief. And most of the time, you don't even know it's stealing from you, because it doesn't feel violent. It doesn't hurt. It feels casual, normal. A little scrolling here, a quick reply there, one more video, one more reel, one more look at what everyone else is doing. But the damage is real. You lose depth. You lose clarity. You lose connection. You lose you. And the worst part? The world encourages it, rewards it, normalizes it. It tells you multitasking is impressive. Being always reachable is responsible. Keeping up with everything is expected. But the truth? Multitasking scatters your brain. Constant availability drains your soul. And trying to keep up with everything makes you lose yourself in the process. We live in an attention economy now. Your focus is not just a personal trait. It's a commodity. Someone is making money every time you get distracted, every time you click, every time you check, every time you fall down a rabbit hole that was designed to trap you. Your distraction is profitable. Your confusion is monetized. Your addiction to noise is their business model. And unless you wake up to this reality, you'll spend your life handing away your time, one notification at a time. But you weren't born distracted. You were born with wonder, with focus, with stillness. You could play for hours, read for hours, sit and daydream without the need to escape it. You were present, curious, connected. So what happened? The noise grew, the input multiplied, the speed increased, and somewhere along the way, stillness began to feel uncomfortable. Boredom began to feel unbearable. Presence began to feel like a luxury. But here's the truth. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to keep leaking your energy to every sound, screen, or scroll. You don't have to let the world hijack your attention every single day. You can reclaim it. You can take it back. And when you do, everything changes. Your mind becomes clearer. Your emotions settle. Your goals sharpen. Your creativity returns. And your connection to life, real life, comes rushing back. You start noticing things again. Small things. Beautiful things. The way the light comes through your window. The rhythm of your own breath. The subtle voice of your intuition. The warmth of being fully here, fully awake, fully alive. That's the gift of attention. That's the power of focus. But it doesn't come for free. You have to choose it. You have to fight for it. You have to say no to the things that don't matter, so you can say yes to the things that do. And yes, people might not understand. They might say you're distant, that you're not as available as you used to be, that you're not plugged in enough. Let them. You're not here to be constantly accessible. You're here to live, to build, to create, to connect, to feel. And none of those things happen when you're constantly distracted. So from now on, pay attention to what steals your attention. Ask yourself, who benefits from my distraction? What is it costing me? What would happen if I focused, really focused, for an hour, a day, a week? How would my life change? Because it would change. radically. Silence would no longer feel empty. It would feel sacred. Presence would no longer feel hard. It would feel like home. Your thoughts would slow. Your breath would deepen. Your purpose would return. And you'd remember, this life is not something to scroll past. It's not something to rush through. It's something to be felt, to be lived, to be cherished. So protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Distraction is the silent thief. But now you see it. And when you see it, you can stop it. You can say, not today, not this hour, not this moment. Right now, I'm choosing presence. Right now, I'm choosing clarity. Right now, I'm choosing to be here. Right now, I'm taking my life back, one breath at a time. Let's talk about dopamine. That tiny chemical in your brain that makes you feel good when you achieve something, when you win, when something new appears, when you eat, when you scroll, when someone likes your post, when you check your phone and see a message waiting. It fires. Dopamine is not evil. It's essential. It's what drives your ambition, what keeps you hungry, what helps you learn. It's your brain's way of saying, that felt good, let's do it again. But in today's world, that system is broken, not because of dopamine itself, but because of what's hijacking it. Every app, every feed, every flashing notification, every endless scroll, every auto-playing video. They're not built to help you connect. They're not built to make you whole. They're built to spike your dopamine just enough to keep you chasing. A new image, a new update, a new sound, a new laugh, a new controversy, a new hit, one after the other. Fast, relentless, addictive, and you don't even notice it's happening. It's just how you pass time, how you take breaks, how you fill the in-between. But here's the truth. When your brain is constantly flooded with quick dopamine, your baseline begins to drop. You start needing more stimulation just to feel normal. Things that used to bring you joy now feel dull. Reading becomes boring. Quiet becomes unbearable. Work becomes impossible unless you have something playing in the background. You can't sit still. You can't think clearly. You can't be with yourself without a hit. That's not you being lazy. That's your brain being overstimulated. It's a loop, a chemical trap, one that's reinforced every single day by your environment. And the longer you stay in that loop, the more your focus suffers. Because focus isn't just about willpower. It's about chemistry. And your chemistry is being hijacked by design. You are being trained to crave distraction, not because you're weak, but because someone profits from your craving. And here's the scary part. The more distracted you are, the easier you are to control, the easier you are to sell to, the easier you are to keep stuck, the easier you are to numb. But you don't have to stay in the loop. You can rewire it, not by fighting dopamine, but by reclaiming it. You can build a life where your brain gets its rewards from things that matter, from progress, from silence, from flow, from creation, from presence, from real human connection. But first, you have to reset. That means detoxing your inputs. Not forever. Just long enough to give your brain a break. A chance to return to baseline. A chance to feel real joy again. Start small. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Delete the apps that hijack your attention the most. Replace instant stimulation with slow focus. Books, walking, music without lyrics, sunlight. Don't panic when it feels boring. That's your brain healing. That's your system recalibrating. That's your inner world detoxing from a diet of constant noise. Over time, your sensitivity returns. You'll start feeling again. You'll start noticing again. You'll find pleasure in simple things again. A breeze, a long conversation, a deep paragraph in a book, the sound of your own breath. That's not nothing. That's your real life coming back online. And when you build a reward system around depth instead of speed, everything changes. You become less reactive, less desperate for hits, more grounded, more stable, more powerful. Because now you're the one in control. You're no longer chasing dopamine. You're directing it. You're saying, I will earn my rewards. I will focus for longer stretches. I will move slower. I will be here. That's what it means to rewire. It's not about going cold turkey. It's about becoming intentional. It's about teaching your brain what's truly valuable and letting go of what's just noise. You'll still get hits, but they'll come from finishing the chapter, completing the workout, cooking your own meal, being present with your thoughts, holding a boundary, learning something hard. That's sustainable. That's fulfilling. That's freedom. But it starts with you noticing the loop, asking, what am I actually chasing? Where do I go when I'm tired? When I'm anxious? When I'm uncomfortable? And does it make me feel better or just distracted? Because your life doesn't change when you scroll past an inspiring quote. It changes when you take your nervous system seriously. When you say, I'm done outsourcing joy. I'm done feeding anxiety with more input. I'm done giving my chemistry to systems that don't care about me. From this moment on, I reclaim my focus. I reclaim my peace. I reclaim my brain. This isn't about perfection. It's about power. And your power starts with presence, not the kind you force, but the kind that rises when the noise fades and your inner clarity speaks again. That voice is still there. It's just been covered by static. And now, you're learning how to turn the volume down on everything but you. You sit down to work. You open your laptop. You got things to do, goals to crush, ideas waiting to come to life. And yet, you can't focus. You check your phone. You get up. You forget what you were doing. You start one thing, jump to another, then scroll for 5 minutes and feel guilty. The pressure builds, but your mind feels like it's floating. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not undisciplined. You are simply human, living in an environment that was not built for your focus. And that's the first truth you need to accept. Your inability to focus isn't a personal flaw. It's a system failure, a mismatch between the way your brain evolved and the world it's been forced to adapt to. You see, your brain was never designed to process this much information. Not this fast. Not this constantly. Not from this many sources. You were made to notice a handful of things at a time, to track subtle changes in your environment, to reflect, to daydream, to follow long, slow cycles of thought. But now, you're in an environment that never stops. The news never ends. The feed never runs out. The messages never pause. The ads never go silent. The dopamine hits never take a break. And you are left trying to survive inside a machine that was built to distract you. Of course you're scattered. Of course it's hard to focus. Of course your brain feels foggy. The problem is not you. It's the environment you've been immersed in. Let's break it down. Every time you switch tasks, check your phone mid-project, click a new tab, skim a new headline, your brain has to reorient. That shift might seem small, but neurologically it's a cost. You lose depth. You lose momentum. You lose your train of thought. It takes minutes to re-enter deep work after each distraction. But most people never even reach that point because their attention is being hijacked every few seconds. And that has consequences. Over time, your brain adapts to shallow focus. It becomes addicted to novelty. It starts seeking out distraction, not because you want to be distracted, but because you've trained it to expect interruption. And when you try to focus for real, it feels uncomfortable, almost painful. You fidget. You glance. You reach for something. You escape, not because you're weak, but because your neural pathways have been rewired by years of fractured attention. And no one warned you this would happen. No one said, by the way, if you check your phone 300 times a day for 10 years straight, your ability to concentrate might collapse. But that's exactly what happened. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Because once you see the pattern, you can't ignore it anymore. You can't keep blaming yourself. You have to take your power back, not with guilt, but with understanding. So here's what you do. First, forgive yourself. Forgive the scattered days, the lost hours, the blank pages, the moments you chose scrolling over creating. You weren't weak. You were conditioned. And now you're waking up. Second, simplify your environment. Close the tabs. Silence the notifications. Make your phone harder to reach while you work. Create a physical space that signals, this is where I focus. Your brain needs cues. It needs help remembering what matters. Third, Reclaim your mental real estate. Start paying attention to what you feed your focus. Are you constantly absorbing chaotic content? Are you surrounding yourself with noise? Are you checking in with everyone except yourself? Because the input shapes the output. And if you want clarity, you have to stop feeding your mind garbage. Fourth, rebuild your attention like a muscle. Don't expect instant results. Start small. 10 minutes of uninterrupted focus. Then 15. Then 25. Use a timer if you need to. But more importantly, train your mind to stay, to breathe through discomfort, to sit in boredom, to not reach for the easy hit. That's where your strength grows. Fifth, anchor your focus to meaning. It's easier to stay present when what you're doing matters. So ask yourself, what am I working toward? Why does this matter to me? How does this connect to something bigger than just a task? When your purpose is strong, your focus becomes fuel. And finally, rest deeply and without guilt. You can't stay sharp if your mind is constantly overclocked. Sleep, unplug, go for a walk without your phone. Let your brain wander without input. That's not laziness. That's maintenance. Because here's the truth. Your brain is capable of deep, powerful, immersive focus. It just needs space. It needs silence. It needs trust. And most of all, it needs you to stop treating yourself like a machine. You are not a productivity robot. You are a human being with rhythms, with waves, with limits. Honor them. Work with them. Let your focus be a relationship, not a demand. Because when you do that, something magical happens. Your clarity returns. Your thoughts sharpen. Your confidence grows. And you stop being pulled in every direction. Because you know where you're going. That's what we're building here. Not perfect focus, but intentional focus. Not guilt, but awareness. Not hustle, but presence. Because the world will always try to steal your attention. But now you know the truth. You can take it back. And the first step? Stop blaming yourself. This is not your fault, but it can be your turning point. You probably heard the phrase, I'm a good multitasker. Maybe you've even said it. Maybe it made you feel capable, efficient, like you were doing more with less time. But here's the reality. Multitasking is a myth. Not in theory, but in practice. Not because you're not smart enough to juggle things, but because your brain wasn't designed to do more than one focused thing at a time. What you think of as multitasking, switching between tasks, conversations, thoughts, tabs, it's not simultaneous processing. It's rapid switching. And every time you switch, there's a cost. A hidden tax you pay with your time, your energy, and your clarity. Let's say you're writing something important and you pause to check a message. You reply. You return to writing. But your brain doesn't instantly pick up where it left off. It has to reload. It has to remember what you were saying, why it mattered, where you were going with it. That little reboot, it takes seconds, sometimes minutes. Multiply that by every switch, every ping, every glance. And by the end of the day, you've lost hours to context switching. And here's what makes it worse. Your brain likes the switching. It feels productive. It feels fast. It feels like movement. But it's not progress. It's just scatter momentum. Like running on a treadmill and wondering why you're not getting anywhere. Multitasking doesn't save time. It wastes it. Multitasking doesn't sharpen focus. It blunts it. Multitasking doesn't make you efficient. It makes you exhausted. You end the day drained, but with little to show for it. You half listen to conversations. You half read your messages. You half finish your tasks. You half live your life. And none of it feels satisfying because your attention is split. And where your attention goes, your life follows. So how do we fix it? The answer is simple, but not easy. Single tasking, not flashy, not trendy, but powerful. Doing one thing at a time with your full focus, your full breath, your full presence. Writing, only writing. Talking, only talking. Eating, only eating. Working, only working. Even resting, only resting. It sounds basic, but in today's world it's radical. Because everything around you is designed to pull you into 10 different directions. We listen to podcasts while emailing. We text while walking. We eat while scrolling. We scroll while watching. We half watch, half skim, half react, and wonder why nothing sticks, why we feel so overwhelmed, so foggy, so disconnected. But when you practice single tasking, something shifts. You slow down. You deepen. You start to feel what you're doing, not just perform it. You enter a state of flow, of immersion, where time disappears and your work comes alive. That's not just better for productivity. It's better for your soul. You get to be whole again, not fractured across tabs and texts and distractions, not constantly shifting gears, but present, clear, alive. Of course, this takes practice. Your brain is used to switching. It's addicted to jumping. So in the beginning, single tasking might feel boring. It might feel too slow. You might feel the urge to check something, do something else, get a quick hit of dopamine. But sit with it. Stay. Breathe. Resist the itch. What you're feeling isn't boredom. It's withdrawal. Withdrawal from distraction. And on the other side of that withdrawal is freedom. So here's how to begin. Start with just 25 minutes. Pick one task. Just one. Set a timer. Turn everything else off. No tabs. No text. No multitasking. Just this. And stay with it. You might feel the urge to escape. That's okay. Breathe through it. Bring your mind back. When the timer ends, take a real break. Walk. Stretch. Sip water. Let your brain rest. Then return for another 25 minutes. This is how you retrain your focus. Slowly. Intentionally. One moment at a time. You'll notice your thoughts become clearer. Your results become stronger. Your stress begins to fade. Because you're no longer juggling. You're building. You're creating. You're living fully inside the moment, instead of being pulled away from it. That's the hidden cost of multitasking. It robs you of the moment. You might complete more tasks, but you miss the experience of doing them. You miss the richness, the detail, the learning, the joy. Single tasking brings all of that back. And in a world obsessed with doing everything at once, choosing to do one thing well, that's a flex. That's power. That's presence. So the next time someone says, "Can you multitask?" you can smile and say, "I don't multitask. I prioritize." Because you know the truth now. Multitasking is a lie. Presence is the way forward. And when you give your full self to what matters most, you don't just get more done. You get more life out of everything you do. Your brain is ancient, thousands of years old, designed for survival, simplicity, and sharp awareness. It evolved in quiet forests, wide plains, silent sunrises, still evenings. It was shaped in environments where silence wasn't rare, it was normal. And noise? Noise was a signal. It meant danger, movement, something worth noticing. Now, fast forward to today. You wake up and reach for your phone. Before your feet touch the ground, you've already consumed more stimulation than your ancestors encountered in entire weeks. Messages, news, sounds, ads, videos, scrolling, clicking, skimming, reacting, all within minutes. This constant feed of input isn't just loud in the ears. It's loud in the mind. And your brain, it's trying to process all of it. Every word, every face, every beep, every swipe. But here's the truth. Your brain wasn't built for this much noise. Not even close. It's trying to function in a world it was never designed for. And the result? Mental fatigue, irritability, lack of clarity, poor memory, anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, a restless feeling in the background of every day. You feel scattered, not because you're broken, but because you're overloaded. Your mind is drowning in micro inputs. Not enough to shut you down, but just enough to keep you unfocused. Just enough to keep you tired. Just enough to keep you away from deep presence and clarity. This is the new form of noise. Not just sound, but data, information, mental clutter. And just like real noise, this mental noise wears you down. Now here's the thing. You probably don't notice it happening because it's been slow, gradual, like turning the volume up one notch at a time until silence feels strange. until stillness feels unbearable. But somewhere deep inside, you know something's off, that you weren't meant to feel like this constantly distracted, this constantly tired, this disconnected from your own center, because there's a part of you that remembers the stillness, even if you haven't felt it in years. The good news is your brain can recover, but only if you learn to give it space, only if you protect it from the noise it's constantly surrounded by. So how do you do that? How do you quiet the storm when the world won't stop spinning? It starts with conscious subtraction, not adding more productivity tools, not learning new hacks, but removing the excess. Because focus doesn't come from doing more. It comes from removing what distracts you from the present. Start by finding your noise. What fills your mind the moment it wakes up? What are the first 10 things you consume each day? Whose thoughts are you carrying before you've even checked in with your own? That's your noise. Now remove one. Just one. Wake up without your phone for 30 minutes. Go for a walk without music. Turn off notifications. Drive in silence. Let yourself be bored for 5 full minutes. You'll feel the withdrawal. But beneath that discomfort, there's healing. There's calm. There's a home you've forgotten how to live in. Your inner quiet. You'll begin to notice how much mental static you've been absorbing, how tired it's made you, and how good it feels to turn the volume down. Soon, silence won't feel empty anymore. It'll feel like freedom. You'll start hearing your own thoughts again, your own voice, not the noise of the crowd, not the pressure of the feed, but your truth, soft, clear, grounded. This is the space where focus lives. This is a state your brain was built to thrive in. And once you create it, even for just pockets of time, something magical happens. Your creativity sharpens. Your mood lifts. You feel more human again, because you're not meant to live like a browser with 50 tabs open. You're not supposed to be reachable every second of every day. You're not built to process infinite content without crashing. You're meant for rhythm, for pauses, for slow, deep focus, for presence. So stop trying to adapt to a pace that burns you out, and start building a life that supports your natural clarity. A life with boundaries. A life with quiet. A life where you don't need to escape. Because it finally feels good to be here. And no, you won't get it perfect. There will be days when the noise gets in, when the world pulls at your attention and your peace starts to fray. But now you'll notice. Now you'll have a reference point. You'll know what calm feels like, and you'll come back again and again, because that's what focus is. Not a perfect, unbroken state, but a returning, a remembering, a deep breath in the middle of the storm. And as you protect your mind from the noise, you'll realize something powerful. That silence isn't empty. It's where your power lives. The alarm goes off, your eyes open, and in a split second, you're no longer alone. Notifications, messages, news, noise. Before you've even said a word to yourself, the world has already started talking to you. This is how most people start their day, by giving it away, not intentionally, not maliciously, but by habit, by default. They open their eyes and hand over their attention, and that first hour, gone. But what if I told you that first hour is everything? It sets the tone. It programs your mind. It decides whether you spend the day reacting or creating. Your brain, in those first moments after waking, is in a deeply impressionable state. Your subconscious is wide open. The chemicals in your body haven't fully balanced. Your sense of identity, your direction, your mood, all of it is vulnerable. And whatever you expose yourself to in that window becomes your foundation for the rest of the day. So if your first thoughts are comparison, urgency, noise, distraction, that becomes your baseline. And you carry that low-grade chaos with you into every task, every interaction, every moment. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can claim that first hour. You can guard it like it's sacred, because it is. It's the only hour of your day where you have total control, before the demands flood in. It's the hour when your mind is most clear, most open, most honest. It's your reset point, your alignment space, your chance to lead yourself before the world tries to lead you. So what do you do with it? You begin with stillness, not your phone, not your to-do list, not the opinions of 1,000 strangers, but your breath. Before anything else, breathe deep, intentional, conscious breaths. 3 of them, maybe 5. Let your nervous system settle. Let your body wake up gently. No rush, no panic, just presence. Then check in with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling right now? What do I need today? What do I want to create? What energy do I want to carry with me? Don't overthink it. Just listen. Let your intuition speak before the noise drowns it out. Now move your body. Stretch. Walk. Do a few light movements. It doesn't have to be intense. Just enough to activate. Enough to signal, I'm awake. I'm here. I'm ready. Next, protect your mind. Avoid input for at least 30 minutes. No apps. No scrolling. No inbox. Feed your soul first. Maybe that means journaling. Maybe it means sitting in silence. Maybe it means stepping outside and letting sunlight hit your skin. Whatever it is, let be yours. This is your hour, your meeting with yourself. And like any important meeting, it deserves your full attention. You don't need an elaborate ritual. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need intention. It's not about how long it takes. It's about how honest you are with that time. Even 15 minutes, used consciously, can change the entire rhythm of your day. Because when you start your morning with clarity, the rest of the day unfolds with direction. You stop chasing. You stop reacting. You move with purpose. You remember who you are before the world tells you who to be. And slowly, that morning time becomes your foundation, your secret weapon, your unshakable place of power. But you have to protect it. The world will always try to rush you, to pull you in, to get you online faster, moving faster, consuming faster. But fast is not the goal. Present is. So practice this. When you wake up, pause. Don't reach. Don't scroll. Just be. Let the silence stretch. Let your mind breathe. And then choose how you enter the day. That's the difference between starting on purpose or starting on autopilot. And the results? They compound. One clear morning becomes one powerful day. One powerful day becomes one confident week. One confident week becomes a focused month. And eventually, you become the kind of person who leads their day instead of being led by it. That's the power of the first hour. It's not just about habits. It's about reclaiming your attention. It's about honoring your mind. It's about remembering that you are worth meeting every single morning. So from now on, treat your first hour like a ceremony, not something to rush through, but something to savor, something sacred, because the way you begin becomes the way you continue. And when you begin with clarity, stillness, and intention, the rest of your life starts rising to match it. Ding, buzz, ping, swipe. You don't even notice it anymore. The sound of your phone lighting up, the subtle vibration against your leg, the red down the corner of the screen, the little bubble with a number that grows like a weed. You become so used to it, so conditioned that the absence of it feels wrong, uncomfortable, like something's missing, like you're falling behind. But here's the truth. That little ding is destroying your focus, one tiny interruption at a time. You see, every notification is a call for your attention, and attention is your most valuable asset. It's the gateway to your clarity, your creativity, your peace, your flow, and yet you're giving it away for free to every app, every buzz, every meaningless alert, not because you want to, but because your brain has been trained to respond. It's called the intermittent reward system, a trick used in casinos and now used in your pocket. Your phone doesn't alert you on a schedule. It alerts you randomly. And that randomness creates addiction. Sometimes it's a message. Sometimes it's a like. Sometimes it's spam. But every time, your brain fires up with anticipation. What is it this time? Maybe something exciting. Maybe something important. Maybe nothing. But what if I miss it? So you check, you swipe, you open, and your train of thought is gone. Your attention is hijacked. Your brain has to reload. And that little cost? It stacks over and over Until by the end of the day, you've lost hours of deep mental presence without even realizing it. But here's what most people don't know. You can opt out. You can kill the notification and save your mind. That's not a metaphor. That's a real, actionable step you can take. Today, right now, turn off all non-essential notifications. Yes, all of them. You don't need to be alerted every time someone likes your post. You don't need to be buzzed when someone follows you. You don't need to pop up every time a sale happens, a story updates, or a score changes. Your focus is worth more than that. Now, for a moment, you'll feel withdrawal. Your hand will reach for the phone. Your thumb will check for red dots that aren't there. You'll feel like you're missing something. But that's not fear. That's freedom knocking. Because soon, maybe in a few hours, maybe in a few days, your mind will begin to quiet. Your anxiety will soften. Your reflex to check will fade. And you'll realize how much noise was never necessary. You don't need a constant feed of updates to be relevant. You don't need to be available 24/7 to be connected. You don't need to react to everything instantly. You need space. You need silence. You need sovereignty over your attention. That's how real work happens. That's how deep focus is built. That's how peace returns. And here's what's wild. When you remove the notifications, the world doesn't fall apart. The people who need you will still reach you. The urgent things will still find a way. You'll check your messages when you choose to, not because a sound told you to, but because you decided it was time. That shift from reactive to intentional is a game changer. It means your time is yours again. It means your thoughts aren't being chopped up by digital noise. It means you're free to think deeply, to work undisturbed, to feel what you're feeling without interruption. This is how the sharpest minds operate. This is how creators protect their process. This is how leaders stay centered. This is how you get your edge back. You eliminate the noise so your signal can be strong. And it's not just about focus. It's about mental health. Because every buzz, every ding, every red badge triggers microstress. And microstress adds up. Your nervous system was never meant to be on call all day. It needs cycles of rest, cycles of calm, cycles where nothing demands your attention except the thing you chose to focus on. So here's your challenge. Right now, after this chapter, go into your settings. Turn off all unnecessary notifications, even just for a day. Then stretch it to 3, then to a week. Watch how different you feel. Watch how much more space there is in your head, how your shoulders drop, how your breath deepens, how you finally hear yourself again underneath the noise, because you were never supposed to be this plugged in, this reactive, this fragmented, and now you know better. From this point forward, every ding is a choice. Every buzz is a question. Will I give away my attention, or will I keep it for what matters? Choose wisely. Because your life is shaped by what you focus on, and what you focus on is shaped by what you let in. Kill the notification, save your mind, reclaim your focus, and build a life that's yours again. You've heard the term before, digital minimalism. Maybe it sounded like a lifestyle for monks, off-grid dreamers, or people who romanticize analog life. But that's not what it is. Digital minimalism is not about hating technology. It's not about throwing away your phone, deleting every app, or moving to the woods. It's about intention. It's about using tech on your terms, not letting it use you. And in today's world, where every swipe, scroll, and notification competes for your mind, digital minimalism isn't just a cool idea. It's a lifeline, because without it, your attention gets eaten alive. You wake up to a wall of alerts. You check one message, then another. You open one app, then another. You fall into a vortex, and your morning is gone. But if you zoom out, you'll see the pattern. Your digital life isn't built on clarity. It's built on reaction. It's built on addiction loops, engineered by companies whose job is to keep you staring, tapping, refreshing. And it works because you're human, because your brain loves novelty, because your nervous system gets triggered by every tiny alert, every red, every flashing light. But your potential, your peace, your power doesn't live in that loop. It lives in stillness. It lives in depth. It lives in your ability to direct your attention where it actually matters. And that's what digital minimalism is really about. It's not about restriction. It's about freedom. Freedom from the pull. Freedom from the noise. Freedom to live your life instead of watching everyone else's. So how do you begin? You start by asking one simple question. Is this tool serving me or am I serving it? If it's a tool, it should help you build something. A better day, a better mind, a better connection. But if you're just checking it because it's there, if you open it out of boredom, not purpose, if you feel worse after using it, not better, it's time to simplify. That's the core principle. Simplify to amplify. Remove the junk so what remains is clear. Remove the noise so your thoughts can breathe. Remove the chaos so your energy can focus. Here are a few real steps to bring digital minimalism into your life. First, clean the home screen. Remove everything that triggers distraction. No news apps. No social media. No shiny icons pulling your thumb before your brain is even awake. Replace them with tools, not traps. Calendar, notes, meditation, reading, things that serve you. Second, delete the bottomless apps. Or if you can't delete, log out daily. Make the barrier higher. Make access intentional. You'll be amazed how quickly your habits shift when a 1-second swipe turns into a conscious decision. Third, batch your consumption. Set times to check messages. Set times to check updates. Don't graze all day. It ruins your mental digestion. Your brain needs uninterrupted blocks. And constant grazing on content text means headlines, burns your clarity. Fourth, use tech to protect your focus. There are apps that block apps. There are tools that shut off distractions. Timers that remind you to return. Do not disturb isn't rude. It's wise. Fifth, embrace boredom. Let moments pass without stimulation. No music, no scrolling, just being. Because boredom is not your enemy. It's the gateway to deeper thought, to creativity, to self-awareness. Digital minimalism doesn't mean less life. It means more the life that matters. More reading, more creating, more real conversations, more undivided attention, more peace in the pauses. You don't realize how loud your world has become until you finally step into the quiet. And that quiet, it's not empty. It's alive. It's where your thoughts stretch, where your ideas breathe, where your nervous system resets. It's where you come back to yourself. So no, this isn't trend. It's not aesthetic minimalism. It's not black and white phone screens and guilt about technology. It's a return to presence, to clarity, to focus. It's recognizing that in a world of unlimited input, your power lies in your ability to filter, to say no, to draw the line, to choose what enters your mental space. And here's the beautiful part. When you remove what drains you, you have more energy for what fulfills you, more space for what inspires you, more focus for what builds your future. That's not restriction. That's design. So don't wait for burnout to wake you up. Don't wait for overwhelm to break your system. Simplify now. Choose less now. So you can experience more. More depth, more clarity, more meaning. Because at the end of the day, your digital life should be a support system, not a trap. And when you take control of that system, when you stop letting devices run your days, you don't just reclaim your focus. You reclaim yourself. Multitasking sounds productive. It sounds like progress. It sounds like you're getting twice the work done in half the time. But it's a lie. And worse, it's a dangerous one. Because every time you jump between tasks, every time you switch from one window to another, one app to another, one tab to another, you're not multitasking. You're context switching. And context switching is like trying to write a book while answering the phone, solving a puzzle and juggling. You can't go deep. You can't stay grounded. You're just skating the surface of everything and mastering nothing. Let's get this clear once and for all. The human brain cannot do two cognitively demanding things at the same time. Yes, you can walk and talk. Yes, you can chew gum and think. But you can't solve a problem while writing an email. You can't brainstorm a new idea while scrolling through messages. You can't truly focus on two meaningful things at once. Your brain doesn't split its attention. It switches it back and forth, quickly, sloppily, exhaustingly. And every time you switch, there's a cost. Psychologists call it the switching penalty. A hidden time tax your brain pays just to refocus. And that tax adds up. A few seconds here, a minute there, a little fatigue you don't notice, until the end of the day, when you feel mentally wiped and you don't even know why. That's the price of multitasking. It drains your energy. It dilutes your results. It delays your progress. And the worst part? You feel busy, but you're not productive. You're moving, but not forward. That's where monotasking comes in, the forgotten skill, the underestimated superpower, the ability to focus on one thing, fully, completely, and without interruption. Monotasking is not slower. It's smarter. When you give something your full presence, everything changes. You finish faster. You go deeper. You make fewer mistakes. You enter flow more easily. You retain more information. And you actually enjoy the process because your mind stops feeling pulled in 100 directions. It's not always comfortable at first. Your brain will want to check, to bounce, to seek novelty. But that urge, that discomfort, is exactly what's been hijacking your life. And when you train your brain to stay on one track, when you strengthen the muscle of presence, your focus sharpens like a blade. So how do you do it? Start small. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Choose one task, not a list, not a category. One specific task. Answer one email. Write one paragraph. Read one chapter. Edit one file. Then go. No switching. No tabs. No notifications. No, just one quick check. You are doing this, and only this. After the timer ends, breathe, walk, stretch, rest, then repeat. This is the Pomodoro technique. Simple, effective, backed by neuroscience, and it trains your mind to lock in. As you get better, extend your focus windows from 25 minutes to 40, then to an hour, then to 90 minutes. These are your deep work blocks. Sacred time, focus time, creative time. You don't need 8 hours of perfect focus. You need 2 to 3 hours of real focus, and the rest will feel lighter, smoother, easier. And this applies to more than just work. Have a conversation without checking your phone. Cook a meal without watching a video. Go for a walk without podcast blasting. Train your mind to be where you are, to give full presence to the moment in front of you, because that's where life actually happens. Not in the gaps, not in the noise, but in the depth of attention. And here's the truth. Monotasking doesn't just make you more productive. It makes you more powerful. People feel it when you're fully present. Your work carries more energy. Your ideas have more depth. Your words land more clearly. Your sense of control returns. Multitasking scatters your energy. Monotasking amplifies it. So from this point forward, stop glorifying busyness. Stop chasing the illusion of productivity. Start mastering the moment. One task, one goal, one stream of focus. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Notice it. Gently return. That's how you build the muscle. You don't need more time. You need more quality in the time you already have. Monotasking is a path. It's how you do fewer things, but better. How you stop being busy and start being effective. How you take back control from a world that's designed to scatter you. So next time you sit down to work, ask yourself, what's the one thing I'm here to do? Then do it. Fully, clearly, without compromise. That's not slow. That's not soft. That's how real power is built. You've said it. You've heard it. You've probably believed it. I just need more time. But let's pause. Zoom out. Look closely. Is that true? Do you really need more hours in the day? Or do you need to do more with the hours you already have? Because here's the truth. Time isn't your problem. Lack of focus is. Let's get brutally honest. You wake up with 24 hours, just like the most successful people on the planet. just like the creators you admire, just like the leaders who move nations and ideas forward. But the difference isn't time. It's what happens inside that time. And when you say you don't have time, what you often mean is, I'm distracted, I'm scattered, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to focus on first. I can't seem to finish what I start. I'm constantly reacting instead of creating. And that's not a time problem. That's a focus problem. Because real productivity doesn't come from cramming more into your day. It comes from doing fewer things with more presence. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to think clearer, move with intention. Show up fully for one task at a time. Let's break this down. If you have 1 hour of true, uninterrupted, dialed-in focus, you can do more than in 5 hours of multitasking, switching, and noise. 1 deep hour can write the chapter, fix the bug, design the strategy, make the decision, have the real conversation, build the thing that matters. But here's the catch. Deep focus requires boundaries. It means saying no to distractions, no to split priorities, no to being sort of on everything all the time. You need to build containers around your focus. Protected space. Time blocked for one purpose. Clear start. Clear stop. Clear intention. Because your brain works best when it knows what matters now. Not 10 things. Just one. This isn't about being rigid. It's about being deliberate. When you give your full energy to one thing, time slows down. Your work becomes sharper. Your stress lowers. You enter flow. And when you're in flow, 1 hour feels like 5. Because you're fully there. No back and forth. No half-done efforts. No regret. But what gets in the way? We think everything is urgent. We fear missing out. We don't want to let people down. We feel guilty saying no. We believe that business equals importance. It doesn't. Being busy is easy. Anyone can fill a calendar, reply to emails, take calls, scroll endlessly. But being focused? That's rare. That's valuable. That's power. You don't need more hours. You need more ownership of the hours you already have. That starts with awareness. Where is your time going now? Track it. What are your top distractions? How often do you check your phone? How many times do you break focus in an hour? How much time do you spend on reactive tasks instead of proactive ones? Write it down. See the truth. Because until you see the leaks, you can't plug them. Then take back control. Build focus windows. Use the mornings for deep work. Silence your phone. Close your tabs. Clear your desk. Shut the door. And commit. 1 hour. 1 task. 1 mission. That's the practice. And here's the magic. When you do this, you free yourself from time anxiety. You stop feeling like you're always behind. You stop drowning in unfinished tasks. You stop racing the clock. Because you're finally in control of your energy. And when you control your energy, you control your output. You control your progress. You control your peace. Time is not the issue. The clock isn't your enemy. It's your relationship to focus that shapes everything. If you're scattered, no amount of extra time will fix it. But if you're focused, even 1 hour can be enough. So let this chapter rewire you. Every time you're tempted to say, I don't have time, replace it with, what's distracting me? What's taking energy without giving results? What am I choosing to focus on right now? Because your focus is a decision, and every decision shapes your future. You don't need more time. You need more intention inside the time you already have. And when you bring that intention, day after day, you stop spinning. You stop chasing. You start building, 1 hour at a time, 1 block of clarity, 1 bold act of presence. This is the path to progress. This is the path to peace. This is the path to freedom. Let's talk about a word people love to hate. Discipline. For many, it sounds like punishment, like something cold, harsh, and rigid, a loss of freedom, a set of chains wrapped around your day. But what if we told you the opposite is true? Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It's the foundation of it. Because without discipline, you don't move forward. Without discipline, you live reactive, not proactive. Without discipline, your potential stays locked in a cage of comfort. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. to yourself, to your purpose, to the vision you have for who you're becoming. Let's break it down. Freedom without direction isn't freedom. It's drift. Think of a ship with no rudder. It floats, it moves, but it never reaches anything. That's what a life without discipline looks like. Busy, but empty. In motion, but lost. Discipline gives your freedom shape. It channels your time, your energy, your focus into something real. And when your life has shape, it has meaning. Let's imagine two versions of you. One wakes up late, scrolls in bed, reacts to everything. The day is foggy. You do what's easy. You postpone what matters. And by the end of the day, you're drained, but you don't know why. Now the other version. You wake up on purpose. You don't reach for the phone. You start your day grounded. You know what matters. You do it, even when you don't feel like it. You say no to distractions. You show up for your goals. And by the end of the day, you're proud, not because it was perfect, but because it was intentional. That's the difference discipline makes. One version reacts. The other builds. One version escapes. The other focuses. And that focus, that consistency, that's what creates your future. Here's what discipline really is. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's keeping promises to yourself. It's protecting your future self from your present impulses, not because you're hard on yourself, but because you respect yourself. Discipline is self-respect in motion. Every time you say, I'll just skip today, you chip away at trust. But every time you show up, even a little, you build momentum. And momentum is sacred, because discipline doesn't get built in big moments. It's forged in the small ones, the quiet choices, the unglamorous decisions, choosing to write when no one's watching, choosing to go to the gym when no one claps, choosing to put the phone away when no one would notice if you didn't. These moments compound, they stack, they create identity. And eventually, what once felt hard becomes who you are. Not a grind, a rhythm, not a struggle, a standard. That's when you realize discipline isn't restriction, it's liberation. You're not chained to habits. You're freed from the chaos of inconsistency. You're not forced into structure. You're supported by it. Structure doesn't limit creativity. It protects it. Boundaries don't kill joy. They amplify it by making space for what truly matters. So if you've been fearing discipline, if you've been avoiding routines, structure, consistency, not because they don't work, but because you believe they'll trap you, it's time to rewrite that story. Discipline is not a prison. It's a path to clarity, to mastery, to peace. Because when you have systems, you don't have to rely on motivation. When you have habits, you don't need willpower every day. When you have structure, you don't waste energy deciding what matters. You just do it, because it's who you are. And yes, there will be resistance. There will be days where you want to fall back into chaos. There will be mornings where your comfort screams louder than your calling. But here's the truth. Comfort is addictive, and it's a liar. It tells you rest is the goal, when in fact, progress is what your soul craves. It tells you quitting will feel good, when in fact, finishing is what builds self-worth. Discipline is the bridge from the life you have to the life you desire. You don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent. One good decision a day. One promise kept. One focused hour. One step forward. That's how momentum builds. That's how confidence grows. That's how transformation begins. Not in some burst of willpower, but in daily, grounded, quiet choices. So the next time you think, this is too hard, remind yourself, staying stuck is harder. Being lost is harder. Living below your potential is so much harder. Discipline is the kindest thing you can give yourself. It says, I believe in who I'm becoming. It says, I'm ready to lead my life, not just survive it. Because focus without discipline is fragile. It breaks under pressure. But focus with discipline, that's unstoppable. And so are you. When you align your habits with your vision, there's a war happening inside your brain. Not a war of thoughts. Not a war of emotion. A war of chemicals. And the main player in this war is something you've heard of, dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. That's not quite right. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about pursuit. It's the fuel of craving, the spark of anticipation, the chemical that makes you want to click, scroll, check, chase. It's not what feels good. It's what drives you to seek what feels good. And in the modern world, everything is engineered to hijack it. That quick notification, dopamine. That red badge on your app, dopamine. That endless scroll of new content, dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. Your brain is being hit with constant microbursts of stimulation. Ping, flash, buzz, update, all designed to spike your dopamine over and over again. But here's the catch. The more dopamine hits you get, the less sensitive you become. It's like sugar. The more you eat, the less sweet it tastes. So you need more, and more, and more. The same happens with digital dopamine. At first, a new video is exciting. Then it takes 10, then 50. Then nothing really satisfies, but you keep clicking anyway. That's not by accident. That's design. These platforms are built to keep you in the loop. Not because they care about your well-being, but because your attention equals profit. The longer you stay, the more ads you see, the more data you feed them, the more they win, and the more you lose. You lose time. You lose energy. You lose your capacity for deep, focused work. Because when your brain is trained for high-frequency stimulation, it gets bored easily. It resists stillness. It craves novelty, not depth. That's the war. Not between you and your phone. Between your higher mind and your dopaminergic reflexes. So if you've been wondering why focus feels so hard, why reading for 10 minutes is tough, why sitting still with a task feels uncomfortable, this is why. Your dopamine system has been overstimulated. And the solution isn't more motivation. It's not more hacks. It's a reset. You have to recalibrate your brain's reward system. You have to take back control of your attention by lowering the noise. Let's talk about how. Step 1. Reduce the fast hits. Cut back on the endless scrolls. Mute unnecessary notifications. Delete apps that give you dopamine without value. Stop grazing on shallow stimulation all day, because every cheap dopamine hit now makes it harder to focus later. Step 2. Rebuild your sensitivity. This happens through boredom. Yes, boredom. Allow yourself to get bored again, because boredom is not a flaw. It's a doorway. It forces your brain to reach deeper, to generate its own ideas, to notice, to reflect, to create. When you stop giving your brain instant hits, it learns to find satisfaction in slower, richer rewards, like solving a hard problem, like writing a page, like reading a chapter, like finishing a workout, like sitting in silence and actually feeling something. That's real dopamine. Longer, deeper, earned. Step 3. Create your own dopamine on purpose. You can train your brain to associate dopamine with progress. Celebrate small wins. Track your habits. Write down what you completed. Let your brain feel the success. Don't wait for the world to reward you. Build your own loop. I said I'd do this, and I did it. That's the new high. Not likes, not messages, not retweets. Discipline, consistency, growth. That's the new dopamine source. Step 4. Guard your mornings. Your brain is most sensitive early in the day. So if you check your phone the second you wake up, you're flooding your system with artificial dopamine before your real day begins. That wrecks your natural motivation. It throws you into a reactive state. It wires your mind for shallow input. Instead, start your day with intention, silence, movement, planning, reading, something that feeds your focus, not fractures it, because the way you start determines how you show up for everything else. Step 5. Embrace deep focus as a new thrill. When you first start, it'll feel boring, hard, uncomfortable. That's okay. That discomfort is detox. It means your brain is recalibrating, healing, returning to its natural rhythm. Soon, what once felt boring feels powerful. What once felt quiet feels clear. What once felt hard feels flowing. Because focus isn't about forcing your mind. It's about removing what dulls it so it can come alive again. You are not broken. Your focus isn't gone forever. It's buried, under overstimulation, under distraction, under dopamine debt. But now you see it. You understand the game. And when you understand the game, you can stop being a pawn and start becoming the player. That's what this chapter is about. Awareness. Reclaiming the chemistry of your mind. Not just to get things done, but to feel alive again. Because your deepest fulfillment doesn't come from cheap stimulation. It comes from creation, from contribution, from connection. And all of that requires your presence, your real attention, your clear mind, your focused energy. So choose wisely. Guard your dopamine. Reset your mind. And step into the version of you that isn't run by cravings, but by clarity.